All right, we are looking at code.org, Unit 3, and starting out with Lesson 1. So throughout Lesson 1, 2, and 3, we're doing a lot of exploring through these lessons, and this is your first look at actually working in coding and designing the app, and actually not quite coding it, but actually working in the user interface of the app. So we're going to start by looking at the user interface. One thing I do want to talk about as you get into this, in case you missed being in a class for this, is how this works. So when you get into this for the first time, if you're wondering how to actually make these interact, you do have to hit the run button. When you hit the run button in here, then you'll see that these are interactive. So as you hover over something in here, you'll see that your mouse will turn to a hand on anything that's interactive. The point of this is to explore how the different screens go from one to the next. So in this first segment, in this first Unit 3, you'll be working on creating an app. By the end of this unit, you'll work on creating an app where you're going to be creating an app that is teaching people about something that you know. So you'll be creating multiple screens that interact with each other, going from one screen to the next, having sound that will be teaching somebody about something. So we have a few examples here, like this water conservation. So this, if we want to explore this, this talks about it's important that we all do our part to use less water. Click through this app for tips on conservation, and you'll see that we have it both in English and in Spanish, which I thought was really cool. And if we click next, this actually has some interactive things here. So you can choose on this to say which one would be to save things in our landfill. So if I click on this one, it's going to tell me it's not the right one. If I click on this one, it's going to give me a nice fun sound, which I don't think you can hear that right now. I don't think I have that set up to have the sound on it. But if you click on your computer, you should hear this fun little ding 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 sound that tells you that you have the right. Oh, maybe you might have heard it through my microphone. And then if I click on it again, it will actually fill the water, or maybe when I click on next, it should have actually filled it with water. It did not do that in mine for some reason. And then it says click the timer, and you'll see that it will, and it says, so this is not quite working the way that it should. I'm going to go ahead and hit home. Let's try this again. So I'm not quite sure exactly why. There we go. If I click on it a second time, now I got the water to work on this. If I click on next, and this talks about, yeah, see, I have a few things that were not quite working there on this. So I'm not quite sure if it's just the way my computer's interacting with this. So there's a few things that you can see here, including some sound that this is making with this. And one thing I want to talk about this is like, who's our target audience? How does the user interact with the app? What's the overall purpose of the app? So these are some things that you're going to do as you go through and look at some of these different apps. Of course, you're going to click on finish as you go through these. I do want to make sure that you're going through and looking at each of these, including doing the bird quiz and looking through these. So don't just skip through them. You'll see how each of these interact. For the sake of the time that I'm putting into this video, we are going to kind of go over, I'm going to skip through these. Again, please go through these. We're going to start to look at some of these, like how these work. And I'm skipping through up to number 7 to talk about some differences between input and output. So as we know, so again, make sure you paused before this and done all of those. So pause, come back. And then as we get to number 7, you will talk about what is input and output. So we know that input are things that you would use on your computer, like a microphone, a mouse, a keyboard. Those are all input, and an output is the response that happens. So, if I hit run to see if I want to know what the input is, so again, I can click. If I click on my mouse here, so the input would be a click. Say click on the words, or click on Spanish, and the output is the change of the words here on my screen. So again, the input is click on the word Spanish, and the output is the language. So once again, we're going to learn about input and output. So this is an example. On the next example, you're going to talk about what the input and outputs are. So ideally, you will have sat in class and worked through this with a partner. If you're doing it on this own, I want you to write this in your notebook. As to what the input and outputs are on each of the screens. So make sure that you go through and write down what the input and outputs are throughout the Bird quiz. And through each of the different apps, you're going to do the same thing for each of the apps. What are the input and outputs for each of these, so you have a clear understanding. That's what lesson 1 is about, is seeing how things work. And then as we move into lesson 2, now we're going to talk about the design mode. So we are going to continue to look at the same apps in lesson 2, and we're going to talk about what does it mean to be in the design mode. Now, to make sure that I have everything where I want it to be, and make sure that I am in student view. Okay, make sure I have everything where I want it to be. I'm gonna go to my version history, and I'm gonna make sure I restore it to my original version. So if for some reason you messed stuff up on yours, you can always go to version history and put things back to the original version. Just so you know that that's right here. And you can always go back to a different version in case something gets messed up on your any apps that you're working on. So in this, it says, look at the elements on your screen, try to move some of them around. What properties can you change? Is there anything you can't change? So again, like I said, if you move things around, you decide you don't want them to be anywhere. So we don't want to hit the word run right now. If we hit the word run, we're not going to be able to move anything, because that's actually in the actual app mode. We are in the design mode. So before we were in the code or in the design mode, we're actually in the design mode now. So we actually see the different properties. So for example, I'm in the screen property right now. So it says home screen. It says home screen. If I want to change the name of that, I could change the name here. It says background color, RGB. That's the background color. If I could change the background color, I could change the background color. So if I wanted to change it, I could click on that and maybe change that background color and change the background color to, I could make it a different color. I could go around here and choose a different color, and I could do that. So I could change the background color if I want to. This color here is red. So that's the default color of the color swatch is red. Obviously that's going to change. If I chose blue, it would be a different color for different color swatch, but that's not the default of it. So I could change it if I wanted to. I could change the color of the red. Let's say I wanted to make it a different color red. I could change that to be a deeper red if I wanted to. The picture here, if I wanted to have a different color of the picture, I could change that picture there. If I wanted to change that picture, I could. And the words. So these words down here, what can I change? What can I change? So I can go through here and change the text that's here. So if I wanted to call it just maybe Hampton instead of Hamilton, I could change it to be H-A-M-P, Hampton. So if I want to say Hampton Township, I could change the letters here in the text here, versus some people try and change it on the screen and wonder why they can't change it just by clicking on the screen. The text is here, and I change it right here. If I want to change the width of it or the size of it or the position of it. So try and get an understanding of what you can change or can't change. If I want to change the font, you'll see it's changing right here. So again, that's what's happening here, or all the information that's being changed is right in this area here. So these are some things that you can look at to figure out how you would like to change them. Let's say I want to change the screen. I'm looking at the home screen. Maybe I want to go to the garden screen. There's the garden screen. I could mess around with that screen. So there's a couple different screens. Oh, no, I don't want to import the screen. Let's see, what do we have? We've got trash screen. There's the trash screen. If I want to change the trash screen, I could. So those are some different things that you can change. You can look to see what properties you can and can't change. So try and play with that for a little bit. Again, pause, play with that. After you've played with that for a while, you're going to go do the same thing, or on this next screen here, I'm going to go ahead and reset my version, with this app here. So I want to talk about this. So this assignment can be a little bit confusing because we want to talk about matching the theme. So in this assignment here, you'll see that this looks like it could be really complicated to change this to look like this. And I've had students work tirelessly trying to change each of these to match this. Well, in reality, it's not hard at all. Do you see in this design area right here, the design tool, it says theme. All you have to do is go to the themes and find the theme that matches this. So if we go to this theme right here, it says Area 51. And if you click on it, it actually changes it and matches it with that one easy click. So that's all you have to do to match that. It's so simple. And I believe it's pretty quick and easy to find that, and you can match that. You can still make changes in there if you wanted to. So for example, if you decided you wanted to actually change this to be a different color in the text, you could easily just change that to be a different color here and make that to be, if you want that to be white, you could make that to be white. That is, if you wanted to make that to be white, you could. I'm trying to do that. There you go. So you can easily change that in this area here. So you can make it off of what this is. But again, that was one quick, easy one to change it by using the theme. So going into this design to explore things more, this also talks about how to change the color of the background, the text of the icons. You can do that several different ways. One is to be able to change it right here. If you see this RGB 255, 255, 255, that's the color white. We could also just type in the color in the word of white in that field, and we can use the color swatch. So for example, if I want to change this, if I take that to red, it's at red right now. If I wanted to change it back to white, I can actually just type in the word white back in there, and it would change it back to, well, let's see here. You could type in a color name, common name. I like how it did not change. I like how that did not work. See, it says that it is. You can type a common name in the field. Well, that is interesting. Let's see here. I like how they said that you can type in a common name. What if I wanted to type in a common name here, like red? It says you can type in common names. Well, I think they're not telling us the truth. Well, I rather do things like if I click on this and I go here, I like to choose the RGB colors. And one thing I want to talk about with these RGB colors is right below this RGB color is this sliding scale with a checkerboard behind it. If you start to drag this across, you'll see that RGB turns into an RGBA. That RGB, that last letter on there, A, has to do with the opacity. I know that is opacity or transparency. And if you'll notice that it goes to a point or 0 point something. So whatever that is. Now realize we're looking at between 1 and 0. So on and off. Remember, 1 is on and 0 is off. So somewhere between 1 and 0 is what we're working with. Obviously, if I take it all the way to 0, it's off, right? So the color is off. If I turn it all the way to 1, it would mean that the color is fully on. So remember that the A is representing fully on or fully off, so somewhere in between there. So if I did it at a 0.5, it would be half on or half off. So depending on if you're cup half full, cup half empty type of person. So again, it's a point something number that you put in this A. So you can always use a RGBA number here and type in that number or get that number, and that would give you the opacity of something. And that can be used just about anywhere. Wherever you use an RGB number, you can always use that point something as the RGBA number. Just thought I would bring that up. Now, ideally in this, they're talking about matching this down here. Well, we can easily start by, I'm going to go ahead and go back into my history again so I can start from my base. I'm going to start over, and I'm going to now see if I can find something similar in color-wise in my themes, and then go from there. So I'm going to see what I might have in my themes, and I thought I saw something in the themes earlier, and I could be totally wrong. Let's go ahead and try. Let's go see if I have. Let's try that color. It's slightly not quite. Again, we can try a different one, and I don't think that any of these are quite there. If anybody has any ideas and want to put a comment in there, you certainly can. But we can try this just to see if I can come up with any more. We know that it wasn't the one that wasn't that one. So again, you can try for the themes, and then we can always go from there. I don't think I see anything in the themes here. I thought we used to have one in the themes. I could start with let me try one more. Well, let's go back to our default. So we have our default here, and again, we can always go to matching the color. Now, again, in this background, the background of the default screen, I can go to my background of the screen and try and find the purple that I want to have. So I can come across here till I find the purple that matches, and find that purple. And again, it might be a little bit hard to do, and find the purple. Now, another thing that I want to have to show you that you can do. One thing that I do want to talk about you can do to be able to match colors. I know this is going to come up later, and this is if you're watching this video versus being in my class or in another person's class, this might be like a really quick tip for some of you, is to actually copy this image right here, or to be able to take a snippet of it and save the image. We want to be able to get these colors. So we can just take a snippet of this as I have here. I'm going to go ahead and save this snippet, and I'm just going to go ahead and call it, I'm just going to call it A1 just because I want it to show up at the top of my files. And then I'm going to go to something called color.adobe.com. So color.adobe.com. And it's a free service that Adobe has a website for, color.adobe.com. And I'm going to go to extract a theme. Now, let me go and just refresh this because I've already done this one. So if you go to this extract a theme, you can drag and drop a file into here. So find your picture. And so in my downloads, I have the picture. So I have the picture right here, and I can drag this right from here and drop it right there. And when I do that, it takes the picture and it actually will grab the different colors from within the picture. Now I see that I'm missing this picture, this color right here. So I really don't need this one right there. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and just drag this little plus sign right over that right there. So now I've got all of the colors that I need, I do believe from this app. It looks like I got something doubled up there, so I can actually just go and put that right over the white that's there. I'm not sure that I need this one. That should really be just white. Um, I could just put it over the white, and it's kind of not quite seeing it as white, but it is. There we go. It's just white. So I have the pink, that fuchsia color, two different colors of purple, and then one that's of like a periwinkle. So I have the different colors here. Now, as you see, these though are in like hexadecimal colors. And if I click on them, it actually copied it to the clipboard. So this first one, as I click on it, it copies it to the clipboard. So I can go back to my design, and wherever that color is needed. So if I click on the button here, where this button is, and I go to the color of that button, I can actually go to the background color here and just paste that in, and it will change that. And again, I'm pretty sure it was this button as well. I'll continue to paste that into those. So it's really quick and easy. It looks like the information here. This, I want the text to be that color. So text color here. And again, it's using the hexadecimal color of those. So it's one of those quick and easy ways of getting your color. So this one, if I click on it, I can copy that color, and that's just my background color. So clicking on my screen and changing this to be that color there. So again, that's one quick way of getting your colors out quickly for your design. And this actually works really well when it comes to matching your screen from screen to screen. I would also tend to write these numbers down in my notebook, especially if I'm using multiple screens and I want to carry these from one screen to another. If you do have an Adobe account, you can actually save this color scheme for multiple projects. All right, so that is that assignment. You're going to go through and make that one to match that screen. Now, in this one, it says to get a picture of a kitten here. Now, the thing about using pictures in these projects is you really need to put the image in with your project. So we don't want to just use a URL from the internet onto the, we don't want to attach it to the project. We don't want it to be linked to just somewhere out on the internet, because the internet is constantly changing. You want to make sure that your picture is always attached to your project and stored in the same place. So if you do web design, you'd always want to make sure that you store your images on your web, or if you do app design, you always want your images to be stored within your app so that you don't lose them. It's not connected to anything but your app or your web design. So the key to this is downloading your picture and keeping it together. So let's go ahead and get a picture they want a picture of a kitten. Now we're going to talk about how to properly look for pictures that you're going to use on your app, because these apps are on the internet. It's going to be important that you use pictures that you're allowed to use. So we're going to go to tools. Once we look for something, so I'm going to look for the word kitten, and I'm going to go to images. And before I get any further from here, I'm going to go to tools, and I'm going to go to use rights. So I'm going to go to the word Creative Commons licenses. When I click on Creative Commons licenses, then it's going to narrow down my search to my Creative Commons licenses. If I kept it before or all, it might be for commercial and other licenses. That might be something that I would need to pay for. In Creative Commons licenses, then it shows me pictures that I know that they're Creative Commons licensing for. So now, do you realize that Creative Commons licensing, hopefully by now you've learned about Creative Commons licensing and know that there's different types of Creative Commons licensing, but and just about any general Creative Commons licensing you can use for your school projects. So let's say I want to put a picture of, I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can get this one. Now, if you hover over them, it says what the licensing is. One thing we do want to talk about is the size as well. So you can also specify here under size as to what the size of image is that you want to use. So depending on what you're creating, I know in our class last year, we had different problems with the different sizes that we needed to get. So, we can look at the different sizes as well. So we have large, medium, and icon. For this project, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't need to be too big. I really think this one's super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. As we start to, is it going to take me there? Click on it. There we go. As we start to work on your projects, you should keep track of where the picture is from and where you're getting it from. So you should write a note down in your notebook at least as to where you're getting this from, so that you're not getting it from Google. This is not a Google image. This is actually an image from a website. This is coming from Flickr. And if you go to the word visit down here, you'll see that you're getting it from a website on Flickr. So I need to go this far and again find out where this is coming from. So we know that it's coming from this person here, and this is the person's username here. And this says some rights reserved. So we probably would want to click on this right here to see what the rights are for this picture. So one, it says to share, copy, redistribute materials in any medium format. We can remix, attribute, and upon material licensing cannot be revoked. So we can use this in Creative Commons, and we cannot resell it. So it's for non-commercial use. So again, you couldn't put this on a t-shirt and resell it, type of a thing. And you cannot resell her work. So, but again, so we should give her, we should say in our work that it is, in this down here, we'll say what you must give appropriate credit as to who the work is from. So this is important that we do this as we do the work. So let's make sure that we give this person credit for the work. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and right click on here so that we open that in a new tab and we know who this person is. And I'm not sure if we get much more information about her other than this. So we could say that that the picture is from this person. So I'd write this down in my notebook, and then I would use this picture. So that's what you would do to get the picture of the kitten. So let's go ahead and download the picture. Let's go back to this. So we're gonna go ahead and say save as. So let's go to save as, and it even has a pretty good name here. Kitten Little, super sweet little kitten. That's too big of a name for me. I'm just going to call it Kitten Little. And it's actually, this is not good. So it says this is saving as a web page complete. So this is a problem that some of my students have had. This is not what I want to do. I don't want to save it as a web page complete. I'm going to click away from that. That's not what I'm trying to get here. I'm going to make sure I go back to this. I want to get just this picture here. So again, I've written down all of the attributes about the picture so I know who to credit when I put in notes on my web page, when I get to that point. But for this, I want to make sure that I save the image as, not the web page, because that's my problem that I might have if I don't do this correctly. So I save this, and I'm going to call this kitten, and save that there. It's a kitten. So now this is the picture here in my downloads. And when I go back to my page here, from this, it talks about where to go here on my screen. So let's go ahead and talk about how we get this up here. So from the screen here, if this was not here on my screen right now, I would go over here and put this from here onto the screen. So drag this image from here onto here. Now I can click on it here, and it talks about what these different attributes are. So it gives the image name. You could rename it to be kitten. And then it has the different sizes that you want to put it in. And right here where it says image, right next to it, it says choose. So right here, I need to say choose, and then I'm going to upload. upload. So we don't want to link the image. Definitely don't link it to anything right now. We want to upload from where we just got that, and that was in my downloads, and it should be kitten. So kitten, and I'm going to upload that. So I have to upload it, and then I'm going to choose it. So again, I uploaded it. I have it here. I see it here. It is a JPEG image, and I'm going to choose it. Now it is there in that spot. I can always make it bigger if I want to. It's usually best to transform it the space before you get it here. But that's all that you have to do with this assignment right now, is to upload that picture. That is now in this web section of this. That was a lot for this section here, but let's go ahead and keep going. So again, you're going to hit run and finish on that once you get your kitten into the screen there. In this one, you're going to do something similar where you are going to add in a picture, an icon. Oh, we're going to go find the icons for these. So we're going to choose 2 different icons. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose an image over here. And with this, we're going to find icons. So to do an icon. So let's talk about finding an icon. So put that there, and when it says image, we're going to choose an icon. So we don't have to upload anything. We're just going to click on the word icon, and let's find the icon for the music. Now we can actually type for the movie. Let's see. We can actually type in the word movie and see if we can find it. Hey, it's right there. So let's go ahead and put that in there. It's really quick and easy. Let's go ahead and do that again. So again, from the images, put the image up there, and we could make it the right size. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit smaller, and put that right there. And again, down here where it says choose, and we're going to go to icon right there. And I believe that would also be movie. Well, let's see. I'm sorry. That's what we want. So we want, it might be film, it might be movie. Let's type in icon, let's type in film. And it's right there, I do believe, is the one that we want. And sure enough, that's what it was. So again, when you choose this image right there, you have the option of choosing icons, or you have images that you upload in there. So link to images is your images here. So again, once again, we don't really want to link to images that are on the internet because the internet's constantly changing. You can, but most likely you're not going to, because those are constantly changing, not unless you're linking to a database or something like that that's you want to be constantly changing. But most likely you're going to want to use your own files that you put up there into your own library within your space. All right, so that's that one. We have just a couple more for units 2, and we need to duplicate these now. So we want everything to have a meaning, a particular meaning. So this is all about making sure that things have a meaning. So first off, I know that this screen 1, we definitely want to make sure, I would say we're going to start by actually changing it, not just screen 1, but maybe calling it home. So we're going to call it home screen. Oops, so home. And I like the camel's case screen. And then this cookie, it says image 1. Well, I'm going to call that cookie image. So these are things that I would do. This button right here that says play, I would probably call it play button. Then this click the cookie, and I would call it click label, because there's a difference between a button and a label. So we know that's a label. So if it is a label, right? So that's a cookie label. And then this cookie, this might be your home label or clicker label. what did we call that first one? So cookie, click, label. So there's different things you want to just make sure you label things. Does that make sense? So there's different things you want to put on there, and I think that there's more than one screen. Is there? No, those are just the one screen. So make sure you label things properly. And I think that, yeah, so those are all the elements. It was really quick and easy to do that. Notice that when I give this label, it does not actually change what you see on the screen, but definitely makes it so that each of these have a more, and I hover over them now, it has a better ID on them, so I know what things are. That is really quick and easy to do. And then this last one is for you to practice. So I want you to go through and figure out how you're going to make this screen look like this, make this screen look like this screen. So you figure this one out. How would you make this look like this by putting the elements on the screen? So recreate this over here. This is a good practice for you. I'm not going to demonstrate. I will show you some of the elements that you might be using. So on the screen here, you're going to have some buttons. This looks like a drop down. So this looks like it's going to be a drop down. And this is going to be an add record. I may do this in a separate demonstration, just because I don't want to be as tempting for you just to follow along with what I do, but I might do it in a separate video. And so I'm going to stop right there and have that one be a separate video that you will have to go to after you've tried to do this on your own. Alrighty, good luck.